The air was thick and heavy inside the old alien temple. Dust floated in the air like tiny ghosts, glowing faintly under the strange blue lights that flickered from the walls. Jack, the human explorer, stepped carefully on the cracked stone floor. His boots made soft echoes in the large, empty space. Beside him walked Valera, an alien girl with silver-white hair that flowed down her back. Her skin was soft orange, glowing gently under the dim lights. Her eyes darted nervously from shadow to shadow. She held Jack's arm tightly. "We should not be here, human," she whispered. "This place is cursed. We must leave before it wakes up." Jack smiled at her fear. "It's just an old ruin, Valera. I've seen many like this before. Nothing ever wakes up." But Valera shook her head. She pointed ahead to a dark passage. "No, this one is different. There is something here. Something. Alive and dangerous." Jack loved the thrill of the unknown. That's why he came to this distant planet in the first place. He couldn't turn back now. The deeper they went, the more symbols covered the wall, symbols that glowed faintly, as if watching them pass by. After a while, they reached a wide chamber. In the center stood a tall pedestal made of black stone. On it rested a strange object in armor shaped like a human's body, dark and smooth, like polished obsidian. Red lines ran across it, glowing faintly like veins. Jack's eyes widened. "Now that's interesting," he said. Stepping closer, Valera gasped and grabbed his arm. "No, don't touch it. That's the armor of your rock. It is alive. It will bind to whoever touches it. You will not be able to take it off." Jack looked at her with curiosity. "Live? What are you talking about? It's just metal." She shook her head, her eyes filled with fear. "No, human. My ancestors spoke of it. Long ago, warriors wore that armor, but it consumed them. It took their minds, their souls, until they became mindless weapons. No one who wore it ever returned as themselves." Jack stared at the armor. It didn't look dangerous. In fact, it looked like a masterpiece of technology, something humans had never built before. "Maybe your people just didn't understand it," he said. Valera stepped between him and the pedestal. "Please, Jack, don't. I don't want to lose you." Her voice was soft, worried, almost pleading. For a moment, Jack hesitated. He looked at her beautiful face, her glowing eyes filled with fear. But then he smiled. "I'll be careful," he said, gently moving her aside. "Jack, no," she cried, but it was too late. Jack reached out his hand and touched the armor. At first, it was cold, but then it moved. Thin black strands shot out like snakes, wrapping around his arm, then his chest. Jack shouted in surprise, trying to pull away, but the armor pulled him in. The black metal spread over his body like liquid, hardening into plates as it climbed. Red veins lit up across the surface, pulsing like a heartbeat. Valera screamed, trying to pull Jack away, but the armor was too strong. It dragged him off his feet, lifting him slightly in the air as it fully wrapped around him. "Jack, fight it. Don't let it take you," she cried. Jack's body shook. His eyes rolled back as the armor crawled over his face, sealing his head in a smooth, black helmet. Then everything went still. Valera stood frozen, her hands covering her mouth. Her heart pounded. She wanted to run, but she couldn't leave Jack like this. The red lights on the armor glowed brighter. Then, with a sudden gasp, Jack dropped to his knees. The helmet retracted, sliding back to reveal his face. His eyes glowed, faintly red. He looked up at Valera, breathing hard. "Jack?" she whispered, taking a step closer. Jack looked at his hands, now covered in black metal. I can't feel it. I can't take it off. It's Inside me. Valera's eyes filled with tears. I told you not to touch it. You're bound now. The armor is part of you. Jack stood up slowly. The armor moved with him, like it was part of his skin. He didn't feel weak, in fact. He felt stronger. Faster. But deep inside, there was a small voice. A whisper, it said, "You are mine." Now, Valera shivered. She knew that voice was not Jack's. Something had woken up. And they were not alone anymore. The forbidden chamber had claimed another soul. But this time, the story was just beginning. Silence hung heavy in the chamber after the armor fused to Jack's body. Valera stood frozen, her hands trembling, her heart sinking. She stared at Jack, hoping, praying that he would remove it. But deep down, she knew. No one ever escaped once the armor chose them. Then Jack's body jolted. His head snapped up, and his glowing red eyes locked onto Valera. "Jack," she whispered, stepping back. His voice came out layered, human, but laced with something deeper. "Darker, I feel, ... powerful." Valera shook her head. "Oh, you must fight it." "That's not your power, it's the armor's. It will take you over if you let it." Jack stood slowly. The black plates clung perfectly to his body, every movement silent, fluid, like the armor wasn't just worn, but alive. He raised his hands, watching how the metal responded like a second skin. "What is this?" he muttered. "It's like ... It listens to me." Valera's eyes widened. No one has ever controlled it. It always consumes the wearer. Suddenly, the walls around them hummed. The ancient symbols pulsed red, one after another, like a heartbeat waking up. The ground trembled lightly. Valera gasped. "We woke." The temple knows the armor has a new host. Before Jack could speak, a deep voice echoed through the chamber, not from outside, but from within his mind. Host confirmed. Preparing for combat trials. "What was that?" Jack asked, holding his head. Valera's face turned pale. "It's testing you. You've triggered the Guardians." Suddenly, stone slabs slid open in the walls. From the shadows emerged towering machines, shaped like alien warriors 10 feet tall, forged from ancient metals and stone, with glowing eyes and weapons made of energy. Valera screamed, "Run! They will kill you to test the armor's power." Jack didn't run. He felt a new energy burning in his veins. The armor guided his limbs, moving faster than he could think. One of the Guardians lunged. Its massive blade aimed for Jack's head. But before Jack could even process fear, his body moved. His hand shot up, and a blade formed from his forearm, black, sharp, and humming with red energy. He blocked the attack effortlessly. Sparks flew. Jack gasped. "I didn't even think." It moved on its own. Another Guardian fired a beam of blue energy. Jack's body spun, avoiding it with inhuman speed. The armor responded as if it had a mind of its own, anticipating danger, creating weapons, shielding vital areas. Valera watched, half in awe, half in terror. "The armor remembers how to fight," she whispered. Jack wasn't sure if he was still in control. Each time he reacted, he felt the armor whisper in his mind, guiding his steps, teaching him without words. "You are mine." The voice echoed inside his head again. 3 Guardians attacked together. Jack's body leaped high, flipping in the air with grace he never had before. His blade sliced through the neck of one machine, its head tumbling to the floor. Another Guardian swung a massive axe, but Jack ducked, then punched straight through its chest, tearing wires and circuits apart. Valera shouted from the corner, "Jack, don't let it take over. Remember who you are." Her voice snapped him back. Jack paused, panting. His heart raced, his mind fighting the strange pleasure of power the armor fed him. The last Guardian charged, roaring like a beast. Jack steadied himself, focusing his thoughts, not letting the armor fully control him. He dashed forward, meeting the machine head-on. His blade glowed brighter, and with one precise slash, he cut the Guardian in half. The battle ended. The chamber fell silent again, but the walls still glowed, watching. Jack stood there, covered head to toe in sleek black metal, the red veins still pulsing. He looked at Valera, his eyes flickering between human and alien glow. I don't know if I'm still me," he whispered. Valera ran to him, placing her hands on his armored chest. "But you are still you. For now, but the armor will keep testing you. If you lose focus, it will take everything." Jack nodded weakly. "Then help me, Valera. I need to control it before it controls me." She looked deep into his eyes. "There is a place, deep inside these ruins. The core of the armor's power sleeps there. If we reach it, maybe we can find a way to break the bond, or fully awaken it under your will." Jack clenched his fists. "Then let's go, before this thing decides to finish what it started." Together, they stepped deeper into the temple, not knowing what waited next, but knowing the true fight had just begun. The deeper they went into the alien ruins, the darker it became. The walls seemed to pulse with life, glowing with faint red light that responded to Jack's presence. Valera kept glancing at him, her eyes full of worry. The armor clung to his body like a shadow, every movement smooth, every step too precise. Jack walked quietly, but inside his mind, storm was brewing. The voice had returned. "You are stronger because of me, human. Why do you resist?" Jack gritted his teeth, whispering under his breath, "Because I'm not your puppet." Valera looked back. "Did it speak again?" Jack nodded. "It talks, ... like it knows me. Like it's alive." Valera shivered. "It is alive." "Jack, the old stories say the armor carries the mind of a warrior king, a conqueror who lost his body but lives on inside the metal." Jack paused. "A conqueror?" She nodded slowly. "He built this temple. He trapped his soul in the armor to live forever. But he was too strong, too hungry for war. He needed a body, a host. That's why it called to you." Jack swallowed hard. The idea of a dead warrior living inside him wasn't comforting. The voice laughed softly in his head. "She's clever, that one. But I am more than a ghost. I am your evolution. Together, we can be gods." Jack shook his head, trying to ignore it, but each step forward made the voice louder, more confident. Suddenly, the hallway opened into a massive chamber. In the center stood a giant holographic statue of an alien warrior, tall, armored just like Jack was now, with sharp edges and a helmet shaped like a predator's skull at the statue's feet. Strange alien texts floated in the air, shifting shapes and symbols. Valera whispered, "That's him, the War King. His name is lost, but his hunger remains." Jack stared at the statue. The armor on his body pulsed, red lights glowing in sync with the statue's core. "Welcome home," the voice whispered. Then the air grew heavy. A swirling mass of red energy formed in front of them, taking shape first a shadow, then a figure. It looked like a ghost of the warrior king, glowing eyes and a towering body of light and smoke. Valera stepped back. "It's him, ... his echo." The ghost spoke, its voice deep and commanding. "At last, a worthy vessel. Human, you will bring my empire back. Accept me fully, and I will make you unstoppable." Jack raised his fists. "I'm not bringing back anyone's empire. I just want this thing off me." The ghost chuckled darkly. "You think you have a choice? You're already mine." Without warning, the ghost charged at Jack. But instead of striking, it entered his body straight through the chest. Jack screamed, falling to his knees, clutching his head. The world around him vanished. He opened his eyes and found himself in a strange mental landscape, dark skies, endless red ground, and standing before him, the warrior king. Fully armored, his face hidden under the skull-shaped helmet. "This is my domain now," the king said. "Your mind, your body, they are mine to shape." Jack stood up, fists clenched. "If you want it, come take it." The king laughed and attacked. What followed was a battle inside Jack's mind punches, kicks, blades forming out of thin air. Every strike the king made felt like burning fire in Jack's real body. But Jack pushed back, using memories of his life, Earth, his family, his dreams to strengthen his will. "I'm not a tool," Jack shouted. "I'm not your host," the king roared. "You are nothing without me." But Jack's will burned brighter. He punched the king hard, cracking his helmet. "You're wrong," Jack growled. "I'm human. That's enough." It's with one final strike, Jack shattered the king's helmet, light exploding everywhere. Suddenly, Jack woke up, gasping for air. Valera was holding his shoulders, her face pale with fear. "You're back," she said. "I thought I lost you." Jack looked down. The armor was still on him, but the red glow was softer. The voice was quiet, beaten, but not gone. "I fought him. In my mind," Jack whispered. "I won. For now." Valera smiled weakly. "Then we must hurry. The core chamber is ahead. If we reach it, you might find a way to control the armor, completely or destroy it." Jack nodded. "Then let's finish this." Together, they walked deeper into the temple. But Jack knew the fight was far from over. The armor was still inside him, waiting for another chance. And the War King wasn't done yet. The path beyond the ghost chamber grew tighter, as if the temple itself was trying to squeeze them, testing if they were worthy to pass. The air smelled like old metal and burning ozone. Faint mechanical hums echoed from deep within the walls, like the temple was awake, watching them. Valera's steps grew cautious. She glanced at Jack, whose body was still wrapped in the alien armor. The red glow along his limbs pulsed slower now, but the danger was far from over. She worried not just about the temple, but about the battle Jack was fighting inside himself. "Jack," Valera said quietly, "this place is alive. It's not just stone. The armor, it connects you to the temple's heart. The deeper we go, the more it will awaken." Jack kept his eyes ahead. He could feel it, two whispers on the edge of his mind, like the temple was speaking to the armor. ... inviting it, tempting it. Then the ground trembled beneath their feet. Dust rained from the ceiling. Valera stopped. "It's starting." The walls split open with loud grinding sounds, revealing massive alcoves lined with statues. No, not statues. Machines, ancient guardians. Twice the size of any human, their bodies made of metal and stone fused together with glowing red cores. In their chests, their eyes lit up. One by one, they stepped down from their alcoves. Valera grabbed Jack's arm. "We have to run. We can't fight them all." But the armor inside Jack thought differently. "Let me handle this, human. I will show you true power." Jack shook his head. "No. I fight on my own terms." Still, his body was already moving, the armor forming sharp blades along his arms. Heavier plating over his chest. The first guardian charged, its steps heavy like earthquakes. Jack didn't move. He waited, calculating, feeling the armor's strength without fully surrendering to it. When the guardian swung its massive stone hammer, Jack dodged swiftly, faster than any normal human could. He rolled under the blow and sliced upward, his blade cutting deep into the guardian's side. Sparks and ancient fluids sprayed out. Another guardian fired a beam of energy, Jack spun sideways, the beam slicing into the floor instead. He leaped onto the Guardian's shoulder, driving his blade into its glowing core. The machine shuddered and collapsed. Valera watched in awe and fear. This wasn't just Jack. The armor guided his strikes, made him lethal. But every time he used it, the red glow in his eyes burned a little brighter. More Guardians stepped forward, 5 of them forming a circle around Jack. One carried a double-edged axe. Another held a plasma spear, while others charged up their weapons. Jack's breath was heavy, his mind battling the armor's whispers. "Let me in, human. Let me take control. We will crush them easily." "No," Jack snapped aloud. "I won't be your puppet." Instead, Jack focused, pushing the armor to respond to his own will. He imagined shields and black metal curved out from his arms, forming sleek, curved barriers. The Guardian's fired beams slammed into his shields, but Jack stood firm. Then he attacked, charging forward. He struck with deadly precision, cutting through the spear wielder, dodging the axe swings, slicing limbs off mechanical giants with speed no human should have. One by one, the Guardians fell, their red cores shattered, their bodies collapsing into heaps of ancient scrap. When the last one dropped, the chamber fell silent again. Jack stood there, his chest heaving, armor still. Glowing faintly, Valera ran to him, her eyes wide. "Jack, that was incredible, but you can't keep doing this. The more you fight with it, the more it will want to own you." Jack knelt, catching his breath. "I don't have a choice. If I don't use it, I die. But if I use too much, I'll lose myself." Valera knelt beside him. "Then we must reach the core chamber soon, before it's too late." Suddenly, a deep sound echoed through the ruins, a distant roar. Mechanical, but alive. The floor shook again, stronger this time. Valera's face turned pale. "That's not a Guardian, ... That's the Warden. The temple's final protector." Jack stood, fists clenched. "Let it come. I'm not stopping now." But inside, the armor chuckled softly. "Good. Let me taste the Warden. A teal? See what real power is?" Jack ignored the voice and pressed forward with Valera by his side. But he knew the next fight would be the hardest yet. The armor was hungry. And so was the Warden. The corridors ahead grew narrower, darker, as if the temple itself knew they were coming. Every few steps, Jack could feel the armor pulsing against his skin, like a heartbeat that wasn't his. He wiped sweat from his brow, even though the armor kept his body cool. It wasn't the heat, it was the pressure. Valera stayed close, her eyes darting around, sensing that something was watching them from the shadows. She glanced at Jack's back. The red glow along his armor spine had grown brighter, more intense since the last battle. "Jack," she whispered, "you need to rest. You're burning yourself out. The armor? It's feeding on your energy. I can see it." Jack kept moving, fists clenched. "If I stop now, I don't know if I'll still be me when I get up." He wasn't wrong. Inside his mind, the voice of the War King was louder, now smooth, confident, seductive. "You feel it, don't you, human? The strength, the speed. Let me help. Stop resisting. We can be unstoppable." Jack gritted his teeth. "Shut up." But the whispers didn't stop. The War King showed him visions of standing on mountains of alien bodies. Worlds burning, armies kneeling before him. Jack shook his head. "I'm not your weapon," but for a flicker of a second, part of him wanted that power. Valera suddenly stopped. "Wait, ... Do you hear that?" The floor trembled slightly. A low rhythmic pounding echoed from deeper inside. Then a growl, deep, metallic, and wrong. Valera's face went pale. "The Warden, it's awake." Before Jack could respond, The walls ahead split open with a crash. Out stepped the warden, a towering machine 3 times the size of the Guardians. Its body was a fusion of alien stone, black steel, and organic tissue pulsing under translucent plating. Its head was shaped like a massive horned beast, and in its chest burned a crimson core the size of a human head. Its voice was a grinding growl. Host detected. Terminate. Without waiting, it charged. Jack barely raised his arms before the warden's fist slammed into him, sending him crashing through a stone pillar. Dust exploded everywhere. Jack. Valera screamed. Jack stood, shaking off the debris. But something was different. The hit didn't hurt. In fact, it felt like the armor enjoyed it. Double quotes, yes, ... fight. Let me take over. Jack's vision blurred. His hands twitched, his body eager to move, but he wasn't the one moving it. His feet shifted forward, blades formed along his arms, but he wasn't commanding them. Double quotes, stop, ... Double quotes, Jack muttered. Not yet. Not you. But the armor wasn't listening. His body lunged forward, striking the warden with terrifying speed, blades slicing deep into its outer shell. Sparks flew, but Jack barely registered the fight. His mind was drowning, his limbs moving like a puppet on strings. Valera watched in horror. Jack's eyes glowed fully red now. His voice, when he roared, didn't sound human anymore. She ran to him, shouting, Jack, you have to fight it. It's not you. Inside Jack's mind, the War King laughed. You see, this is what power feels like. Stop fighting me. We can destroy this world together. But then, a voice soft and clear. Valera. Jack heard her. He remembered her standing beside him, her eyes always filled with concern, her voice full of hope, with a scream of defiance. Jack clawed his way back in his mind, shoving the War King's presence aside. I said no. In reality, Jack's body froze mid-strike, shaking violently. His red glow flickered done. Slowly, his eyes turned back to their human shade. He gasped for air, falling to one knee. Valera, ... I'm back. The warden, confused by his pause, roared and attacked again, its massive claws swinging down. But this time, Jack was ready, his own will guiding the armor. He raised his arm, forming a thick shield, just in time. The claw slammed into it, but Jack pushed back, standing his ground. Valera ran to his side. We need to disable its core. The red light in its chest. Jack nodded. Then that's what I'll hit. But even as he stood up, stronger than before, he knew every time he used the armor's full strength, the War King grew louder. He had to end this fast, because next time, he might not come back. The warden's roars echoed behind them as Jack and Valera sprinted through the crumbling halls of the temple. The massive machine was wounded, but far from defeated. Every step they took shook the ground, the warden smashing through walls in relentless pursuit. Valera led the way, her memory of the ancient maps guiding them deeper into the labyrinth. We're close, Jack. The core chamber. It's just beyond the Gate of Echoes. Jack's breathing was heavy, but the armor kept his body strong. Still, he could feel the cost. Every fight, every use of the armor's strength made the War King's voice more confident inside his mind. Why run? Human, stand and fight. Let me show you how to crush a warden. Jack shook his head as he ran. I'll fight it my way. They burst into a massive chamber round, with a ceiling that vanished into shadows. Strange floating platforms hovered in midair, connected by narrow stone bridges. At the center stood a tall door made of black and silver metal, humming with ancient energy. Symbols floated around it like living text. The Gate of Echoes, Valera whispered. We need to open it to reach the core chamber. But the warden was already climbing into the chamber behind them, its eyes glowing like molten lava. "There's no time," Jack shouted. Valera pressed her hands against the door symbols, her fingers tracing patterns. "I'll open it. You hold it off." Jack turned, facing the warden. The armor shifted, blades forming along his arms, plating thickening across his chest. But this time, he was cautious. He couldn't afford to lose control again. The warden charged, roaring, like a furious beast. Jack met it head-on, blades clashing against claws, sparks lighting the chamber like fireworks. Each strike sent shockwaves, stone platforms cracking beneath them inside Jack's mind. The War King mocked him. "You're weak, human. You hold back. Release me, and we can end this now." But Jack ignored the voice, focusing on his own strength. He remembered his training back on Earth's discipline, focus, willpower. He wasn't just a host. He was a soldier. The warden grabbed Jack, lifting him high and slamming him into the ground. The impact cracked the floor, but Jack rolled aside, slashing at the warden's leg. Sparks flew, but the beast barely stumbled. Valera cried out, almost there, just a little longer. Jack stood, blood dripping from his lip. He stared at the warden, its core burning bright in its chest. "I don't need your power," Jack muttered to the armor. "I'll finish this myself." He sprinted forward, dodging the warden's massive claws, weaving between attacks with speed that was his own. Not the armor's. With one leap, he landed on the warden's chest, driving his blade deep into the glowing core. The warden shrieked, shaking violently. Jack held on, pushing the blade deeper until the light in the core began to fade. With a final, desperate roar, the warden collapsed, its body crumbling into metal and dust. Jack fell to his knees, gasping for air. The armor's glow dimmed, almost ... respectful. Valera rushed to his side. "You did it. You beat it." The gate of echoes rumbled, slowly opening to reveal a glowing pathway beyond a bridge of light leading into the heart of the temple. "The core chamber," Valera said. "We made it." Jack stood, looking at the open path. "Then let's end this, before it's too late for me." Valera grabbed his hand, squeezing it tightly. "You're still you, Jack. Don't let it take that away." Jack nodded, determined. The War King was silent for now, but Jack knew it was waiting, watching. Together, they stepped onto the glowing bridge, heading into the core chamber where the fate of Jack's soul and the true power of the armor would be decided. The core chamber wasn't what Jack imagined. It wasn't made of stone or metal, but of light pulsing. Living energy formed the walls, the floor, even the sky above. The air felt thick with power, humming with every heartbeat. In the center of the chamber floated a massive crystal, dark like obsidian, yet glowing from within with a deep, fiery red. It throbbed like a heart, the true core of the armor. Valera held Jack's hand tighter as they approached. "This is it. The heart of Yerk the War King's soul prison. This is where he lives, and where you can end him." Jack's armor pulsed brighter as if it recognized the crystal, craving it. Inside his mind, the War King's voice returned, stronger and more seductive than ever. "You've brought me home, human. Now, complete the bond. Touch the crystal, accept me fully, and I will give you power beyond your wildest dreams. No one will ever threaten you again." Jack's steps slowed. The promise was tempting. All his life, he was just another explorer. Another soldier, ... ordinary. But with the armor, he could be so much more. He could reshape worlds. He could never lose. Valera noticed his hesitation. She stepped in front of him, her eyes pleading. "Jack, ... don't listen to him. You're more than this power. You don't need it to be strong." Jack looked at his hands, wrapped in sleek black armor, pulsing with energy. The War King's whispers grew louder. "She is weak, human. Her people hid from power. But you are worthy. Together, we can rule this galaxy. But then Jack remembered his first steps on this planet's, the curiosity, the wonder. He remembered Valera's kindness, her warnings, her refusal to abandon him even when he was changing. Strength wasn't just power, it was choice. Jack took a deep breath. I don't want to rule. I want to be free. With a scream of willpower, Jack raised his arm, summoning the last of his strength not to claim the crystal, but to destroy it. The armor fought back, his limbs trembling, but Jack roared louder, focusing every thought on one word: freedom. His blade formed, glowing bright, and with one swift strike, he drove it deep into the crystal. The chamber shook violently. The crystal cracked, light spilling from it in waves. The War King's voice shrieked in rage inside Jack's mind. You fool! Without me, you are nothing. Jack grinned. Fen? I'll be nothing, but I'll be me. With a final explosion of light, the crystal shattered completely. The energy wave blasted across the chamber, knocking Jack and Valera off their feet. When Jack opened his eyes, the armor was gone. His skin was bare again, his body bruised but free. The red glow, the whispers, they were gone. Valera crawled to his side, tears in her eyes. You did it. ... You're free. Jack smiled weakly. Told you I'd win my way. The temple began collapsing, the power source now gone. Valera helped Jack to his feet, and together they ran, escaping just as the temple crumbled into ruins behind them. Outside, under the alien sky, Jack looked at his hands, feeling light, human again. Valera stood beside him, her eyes bright with relief. You're stronger than the War King ever was, she said, because you knew when to say no. Jack chuckled softly. I'll take being human over being a god any day. As the sun rose over the horizon, they walked away from the ruins, the past buried under stone and dust. But Jack knew he carried the memory of the War King's voice, the reminder that real power comes not from what you wield, but from the choices you make. And he had made his choice. He was free.